Peace. This is going to be an energy update for Libra, Scorpio, Aquarius, Virgo, Pisces, Taurus, and Gemini. Today's update will be influenced by Gemini and Taurus. That is Mercury and Venus. This card here symbolizes a bleeding heart left in the snow, left in the cold, right? A bleeding heart that has been left out in the snow, in the cold. All right. So with this picture, you see like some scratches here. So this is basically, to me, I'm picking up or channeling someone who was left out in the cold. All right. Someone who has been attacked, their heart being attacked here. All right. Someone who was dismissed, someone who was ignored, right? Someone who was underestimated, but had the courage to become whole again, to love again, to empower themselves again, to restore the heart. Someone may have assumed that what all you went through would have broken you down, and whoever believed these things about you figured that there wouldn't be any hope for you to return back to your loving self, your warm self, you being whole. All right, these people will eventually find themselves eating their words, and whomever these people were act out of pure jealousy, right? With this Gemini energy, I'm immediately picking up on the shadow aspects of Gemini. So the shadow aspects of Gemini is typically very unwavering, not reliable. Also, Gemini rules gossip as well. So people who may have gossip about you. 6 here, we have 6 at the bottom. That's Virgo energy. So this is double Mercury, a lot of communication. So like I said, this is giving a lot of gossip here. All right. And the languages in which people may have used against you may have affected your second house or your so because Taurus is Libra, and Taurus is Venus energy. So this may, their gossip, their words may have tainted your heart or left you in the cold with a bleeding heart. All right, these attacks that people were doing against you may have just put you in a space where you may have been closed off. All right. Then we have 8 energy. That's Scorpio, Pluto, and Mars energy. So people may have been like aggressively coming at you, attacking you. The gossip and slander may have been very aggressive as well. This may be surrounded by something dealing with sexual activities, your psyche as well. Someone attempting to block you from evolving, growing, and maturing. It's 3 levels to a Scorpio, right? This has been in the energy or in my collective energy for a long time, for a couple weeks now, and that is the 3 stages of Scorpio: the Scorpion, Eagle, and Dove. So someone wanted you to be stuck in the first level of the Scorpion, right? So typically with the Scorpion energy, that's when you receive a lot of attacks. You go through the most betrayal. You are left with, the intention is to leave you with a scarred heart, because we have scars and then the heart, a scarred heart, right? But the Scorpion is also, the Scorpion also symbolizes one who is stuck in their roots, stuck in survival, stuck in trying to, stuck in shame, guilt, and stuck in their shadow aspects of their sexual existence, like what all exists in their sacral chakra. So it's giving like someone wanted you to be brokenhearted to the point where you would just be, I'm immediately picking up on someone wanted you to feel so unloved that you would become promiscuous and seek love in different places. All right. But it's giving that that you are having a change of heart. So you are healing, right? The same communication, because we have Gemini communication here as well, the same communications that was used against you to break you down, to leave you out in the cold, it's the same communications you're alchemizing, okay? Because that's Scorpion energy too, rebirth, okay? Regenerating, restoring. You're using that same communication to have a change of heart, to open up your heart as well, and to emerge from all of the things that you went through. All right. And I was also getting, like, I'm seeing a lot of dove symbolisms, which is a peace offering or finding peace. So you not only have you transcended the first level of Scorpio, but you have been you have endured the Scorpion level, which is the first level. You entered into the second level, which is basically when the eagle starts to observe its surroundings. It starts to see things from a higher perspective, and that's when the Scorpio matures. All right, it's not full maturity, but the Scorpio starts to mature. It doesn't allow the betrayal to plant a seed of doubt, shame, or guilt. And with the dove, that's when you finally find peace with what all you have endured, with all you've had to encounter as well. Finding peace with who you are and who you are becoming. I'm also picking up on abandonment as well, because if someone left you with a broken heart, or if someone broke your heart, or if you had a bleeding heart from the consistent betrayals and you were scarred by it, it's giving that you have found peace in that, you've healed, and you're also healing your abandonment wounds. It's like you're alchemizing the abandonment. So whenever you experience abandonment in some way, shape, or form, it's like you transmute that energy and you find a way to embody safety, embody love, embody peace within that space. You cultivate a space of peace within those feelings of abandonment, and it is eventually going to dissipate. Whatever those abandonment wounds are, is giving, when those experiences arrive, you just find another way to strengthen yourself, to empower yourself. You may find a peaceful resolution or find a peaceful solution to the problem, which is the experience of abandonment, right? And it's no longer becoming a part of your story. It's no longer becoming a part of your history either, because it's leaving that you're correcting a lot of timelines just by you healing this one wound. All right, because this is a wound that has been part of your history, part of your lineage, part of your storyline, right? Part of your existence that has been repetitive, okay? Because it's giving like something that has been repetitive or consistent, right? So again, when that experience arrive, the way that you are healing is looking at it as, okay, I am feeling like I am being abandoned. However, how can I cultivate a peaceful space? How can I cultivate a safe space for myself in order to move through whatever this wound is? all right? And you have found that treasure, you have found that key, okay? You have found the answer, you've found the solution to your problem, and now you're moving through that energy very, very quickly once it arrives. And the quicker that you speed that up, the quicker that you catch on to what that is and what you are experiencing, is the quicker that it's going to clear out and clear out of your, dissipate out of your energy, or dissolve, okay, out of your energy swiftly. And that's going to correct so many timelines. But not only is it going to correct so many timelines, you're going to be able to move forward as well. All right. So this card is, we have 37, that's 10, which is Capricorn Saturn. This was a lesson that you had to learn. This is something that you had to, this is some karmic debris that had to be released out of your energy. All right. So when Saturn comes, Saturn limits you. So your limitation was, how are you going to react to an act of abandonment, right? Because every action causes a reaction. For every cause, there is an effect. So if you have some sort of if you react in a way that cultivates safety and peace and whatever it is that you do within that experience, that abandonment experience, it's what's essentially going to release you from those limitations that may have restricted you in the past. So again, when abandonment arrives, okay, for you, because this is the card that we have here. Someone's heart sitting in the cold, in the snow, and we have scars left behind, right? And fragments and pieces of your heart that has been shattered, okay? I'm also seeing an apple here. So to me, okay, I don't necessarily I make up my own rules. I make up my own philosophies and interpretations, okay? No matter what has been normalized and conceptualized by the collective or by society, I try to find ways to embody different energies for different things. So with the apple, all right, biblically, a lot of people like, oh, you bit the apple and you took on the poison and all that stuff. But to me, apple symbolizes biting into a source of wisdom that awakens you, right? That awakens you to different aspects of life, all right? That can either hinder you or help you, right? So once you obtain a certain level of wisdom, okay, so that's the ego energy. Once you look above everything and you start to see things from a higher perspective, you can take a bite of that wisdom and you can say, okay, I have now seen this for what it is. I have now experienced this for what it is. However, it doesn't have to be my truth. It doesn't have to be a part of my existence anymore. It doesn't have to be part of my timeline, right? And this is how you correct it. So if you are like I said, if you have been abandoned and you are experiencing that abandonment, right? You start to see it from a higher level and you bite into the apple and say, okay, I understand and I see that I have been abandoned in some way, shape, form, or capacity. However, that doesn't have to be my truth. How can I transmute this energy? How can I alchemize this energy? How can I shape this or form this in a way that it doesn't have to be received as abandonment? How can I receive this as safety? How can I receive this as protection? How can I see this as a time and a space for me to care for myself, to pour into myself, to love on myself, to heal, right? How can I see this experience as a way or a means to empower me, to align me with a higher timeline, to correct a timeline? How can this experience work in my favor? That's the point of all of this, is no matter what wounds that you have, no matter what trauma you experience, yes, you can acknowledge that you have been traumatized or wounded in some way, shape, form, or capacity, but it doesn't have to be part of your storyline forever. It doesn't have to be the crutch that you use to enable your karma. It doesn't have to be a crutch to enable you to toxic behaviors. It doesn't have to be a crutch that enables you to realign with and reconnect with toxic bonds, karmic ties, right? The point is to make it work in your favor, right? That's the point of it all, and that's what Saturn teaches us. A lot of people don't really like Saturn because it restricts you, it limits you. But if you learn how to work with Saturn, Saturn will work for you. Like I said, if you work with Saturn, like work with the limitations, instead of feeling caged in, instead of feeling boxed in, instead of feeling abandoned, instead of feeling backed into a wall, change your perspective, see things from a higher perspective and say, okay, why am I being limited here? Why am I being restricted here? Why am I being backed in a wall? Why am I being abandoned? And the answer will always be, I am supposed to be doing something, cultivating something within this space to break through this wall, break through this limitation, break through this restriction, break through this abandonment, and become someone who no longer is limited by those wounds, by those traumas. All right, so 10 energy is also the entering into the void. So once you close out a karmic cycle, and this karmic cycle just so happens to be abandonment, right? Something that is stemming from abandonment, experiences, consistent and repetitive experiences of abandonment, right? That if you keep consistently or repetitively experiencing abandonment, it's because you aren't seeing your abandonment as your solution. You're seeing it as your problem, right? So if you keep looking at every single problem that comes towards you as an issue, as a blockage, as a restriction, as a limitation, that's going to continue to be your experience. However, if you see these things as your solution, then that's when your world changes, right? Because if you start to see these things as your solution, it's like, okay, this is what I'm experiencing right now. However, why is Saturn putting me through this experience? What am I not seeing? What am I not doing? What am I not allowing? What am I not receiving? What am I not processing? See, a lot of times we are placed in a space of solitude where we are isolated from the world, isolated from our family and friends, isolated from the distractions, and we assume that, oh, well, I'm in this space because of karma. I'm in this space because I've done something wrong. I'm in this space because you have to change how you see things and not look at it in a way that it puts you in a low vibration. Okay? Because your limitations and restrictions just may be the answer to your problem. It may be the solution. It will always be the solution. The solution to every issue is always within the problem. Always. You just have to change your mindset, correct your mind, correct the programming, okay? Because a lot of times it's not always the external influences that is the problem. It's sometimes, but most times, it's always you. It's how you think. It's how you react. It's how you view things, perceive things, receive things, process things. You will always be your worst enemy, your biggest enemy. Nothing outside of you will ever be bigger than you, ever. Unless you allow that, unless you perceive it that way, unless you receive it that way, unless you process it that way, unless you consistently program that into your mind. It always will come back to you. It's always you. in some way, shape, form, or capacity, because you can't change the outside world unless you change what's going on within you. You cannot change how people react. You can't change how people behave. You can't change how people think. But you can do that for yourself. You can change. All right, so I'm going to move this out the way. I'm going to do some oracles. I'm feeling called to do oracles today. Like strictly oracles. I might tap into the tarot. It just depends. All right, the first card that came out was Manifestia with the energy of 9. So we have Manifestia with the energy of 9, and then we have Stepping Through as well. Well, it actually came out this way. So we have, oh yeah, it came out this way. We have Manifestia to Stepping Through. You're stepping through your manifestation. You were manifesting something for a long time, and you're finally stepping through to whatever or what all that is. So something that you have been praying for, something that you've been asking for, okay? And sometimes, when it comes to manifesting, what people have to understand is that when it comes to manifesting, your focus shouldn't always be on the materialistic things. All right, because a lot of people just want to manifest money, manifest cars, manifest all of these extravagant things. That's Taurus energy, right? The extravagant things. But it's like, okay, you can acquire or obtain these extravagant things, but if you don't have the mindset or the capacity to be able to maintain and sustain whatever or what all that is, then it's like, okay, you manifested those things with no purpose. You manifested those things without the intention to be able to maintain and sustain it. And a lot of times that comes with a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing, right? The mind, that's Gemini energy as well. All right. The mind. So with you though, it's giving that you have manifested all of the mental components that will assist you with being able to sustain and maintain higher levels of responsibility, which comes with, your home, your car, money, businesses, relationships, and things like that, right? So yeah, you are the type of person where it's like, instead of trying to manifest a car, you're like, okay, well, what mentality do I need to be in to align myself with this car, to be able to maintain this car, to sustain this car? What mentality do I need to be in order to cultivate a safe space for me to be able to obtain this car, right? So, like I said, you can manifest things out of thin air, but if you don't have the mentality or the mindset to maintain whatever it is that you have obtained, then it defeats the purpose, right? You're overworking yourself, right? So we have 9 and 11 energy. You have been manifesting expansion of some sort, right? Traveling of some sort, higher wisdom, like I said, the apple, wisdom. You have been manifesting some sort of wisdom, movement, traveling, right? So this traveling doesn't have to, again, be an external thing. This could just be a mental shift, okay? In order to shift your mentality, you have to travel to areas of your psyche that hasn't been visited before. You have to travel to areas of your psyche that has been abandoned itself, right? So those shadow aspects, you have to travel through the shadows travel through those gray areas, travel through the parts of your psyche that has been abandoned. You had to knock them webs off of your mind, parts of your mind, in order for this to even come into existence. And this is something that is new. That's going to be very new for you. We have 47. That's 11 energy. This is something that you are cultivating that is new. Okay, so this is a new philosophy that you are internalizing, a new concept that you are internalizing, a new mindset that you are internalizing. So this is part of the reprogramming process. And when it comes down to biting into the apple of wisdom, like I said, you become enlightened to a higher perspective, right? Or you just come into a certain or specific truth where you're no longer naive, or you're no longer immature, you're no longer acting from a low vibration. You're having that's a higher responsibility, or something is coming to you where you're going to have to have the capacity for a higher responsibility, right? To obtain a higher responsibility. And once you become aware of a higher responsibility, or once you become aware of a specific or certain truth, you have to move different, you have to act different, you have to be different. And that comes with change. So whatever this change is that you are manifesting, whatever this new manifestation that's coming in, or this new philosophy that you are embodying or internalizing or reprogramming, okay, you would have not been able to carry or have the capacity for this responsibility as long as you use your abandonment as a crutch, your scars as a crutch. It would have continued to be a blockage for you. All right. So the manifestation that you have been praying for, that you have been considering heavily, this is a heavy consideration. All right. Whatever this manifestation is something about progress. So moving forward, okay, because 9 energy, that's Sagittarius, Jupiter. So that is about expansive principles. So you are expanding your principles. Is giving that at some point in time, the principles and the morals that you had were restricting you and limiting you. The mentality or the mindset or how you were perceiving something is what was limiting you. And unless you sat with yourself, unless you were isolated, unless you were abandoned, you would have never and saw it from a higher perspective, okay, you would have never figured this out. You would have never put these pieces together. You would have never arrived at this particular mindset. All right. And this is part of having a higher education as well. Okay. Higher education doesn't always have to develop through through systems, through external systems. Higher education can be obtained within your internal systems. Like I said, this is part of you having to go through a dark night of the soul, doing shadow work, knocking the webs off of and cleaning up those areas that you have neglected within your psyche. And unfortunately, breaking through those barriers is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable because, like I said, if these are places in your psyche or in your mind that you have abandoned or has been left for a while, okay, whether in this life or previous lives, okay, it's going to be uncomfortable because you haven't visited those spaces and places in a while, or it just may have been blocked off or restricted. I'm seeing like one of those like restricted, like something being blocked off here. And you may have thought like, oh, well, because this is blocked off, I should be, I shouldn't go there. Or that tells me that, okay, this place in my psyche is off limits. Okay. No, because Sagittarius energy is consistent with being a wanderer, All right. And Gemini energy is about curiosity. So it's giving that what has been programmed within you is when you see these things posted, right? And it says restriction, whatever. You are the type of person, okay, that breaks through those limitations, those signs, and you're just like, oh well, no, F that. You're not gonna tell me that I can't go beyond this point, right? And you travel anyway, you wander anyway, because your curiosity is nudging you to do so. And you realize that the whole entire time that sign was placed by someone who didn't want you visiting that space, was trying to block you out of that space. All right. So it was never any law or rule against you actually entering or breaking beyond that barrier. Someone placed that barrier. So this is giving a seed planted within your mind, right? From external influences that didn't want you to do these things. All right. But when you tapped in, you realize like, oh, somebody put this here. Someone on the outside tried to come into and infiltrate my sacred space, my mental, my psyche, in hopes that I would limit myself and not be curious enough or wander and figure out what all of what this is. And the whole time it was someone placing that there. And the person who placed that sign there, they was never ordained. They never had the title, role, or status, because that's 10 energy. Where is it at? 10 energy, Capricorn. Okay. No one had the authority to do that, right? No one was ordained to do that. But because you were manipulated into believing that they had that authority, you went with it for a while. And then finally, again, Saturn sat you down again and was like, wait, you feeling like this is your problem when it's actually your solution. And you decided to revisit whatever that was. And once you arrived at that sign, you took that sword off of your back and you chopped that shit up and you walked through, you stepped through. And once you stepped through, it was like, oh, welcome back. You started to clean up that space. Not, like I said, knocking off the cobwebs, right? You started to clean things out. And instead of throwing it to another area of your mind, you burned that shit up and allowed it to dissolve and dissipate and be released out of your psyche, outside of your mind. So we have crown chakra and root chakra coming out. What did I say earlier, right? Something within you was blocked, and this is what's been blocked, and this has been coming out. I'm gonna slide this down. This is what's been coming out in the reads. A lot of crown chakra energy, sacral energy, and root chakra. But what is crown and root is the base of this. Abandonment. What was I saying? Someone who was trying to survive. Instead of trying to survive, you cultivated a space of ease and peace, stability, and safety. That's your root chakra. All right. You're grounding yourself. Okay. You're coming back to ground. But also, as you come back to the ground, you're shooting back up to your crown chakra. So your crown chakra, again, that is where you receive your messages, your downloads. That's how you connect with spirit. That's how you connect with your higher power, your higher self. Okay, that is the mental faculties as well, the neurological faculties, the psychological faculties, right? And that's Pluto energy as well. The 8, Scorpio energy, that's Pluto energy. The psyche, okay, is where you evolve the most. If you receive crown chakra downloads, once you tap into your crown, you realize that you are unlimited. Okay, again, 9 energy. We have 9 and 9. That's Sagittarius traveling within your mind and revealing your unlimited self. You are still unlimited within the perceived limitations. Or whatever is, I wouldn't even say perceive. Okay, you are unlimited within perceived projections. So things that have been projected on you and you perceived it in a way, at one point you perceived it as a limitation, but now you're perceiving it as, okay, I can still go within myself and become my most unlimited self, my higher self. Who is realizing that all of those seeds that were planted were the actual problem. And then we have 2 energy